Okay, you guys saw we went to Vazari, explained all about the bike. We're now at Precision Bike Fit, and my boy here is going to dial us in and get us fit. And I also brought him a really cool gift. Let me show you what it is. And it's only special to me, but there's only 2 of these in existence. I wore them on the 50. And so I've got one, and I'm going to give him the other one, one of 2. So that's going to be my gift for him. He helps me out a ton with my bike fit. So yeah, I can't wait.
Everybody with it, eyes super heavy, I'm moving steady right through the city, lift it. My foot up on the gas, get a better way, or watch you on the Michelin. Ties tied away, better ride that, or you swimming with the fishes. Try not to get offended. My spaceship is coming.
Actually, I forgot to mention, he was instrumental in designing this and creating it. And this is actually the first time he's going to see the creation that he helped build. And so there you go. There it is.
Wow, the finished product is like...
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, I mean the 3D rendering was awesome. I love that paint job.
Oh, dude, in the light, it's transition. There's purples, there's... Nice. So, I mean, this is ugly. When the light hits it, man, that thing lights up. So, you have jerseys up on your wall.
Yeah.
And... I was offended mine wasn't there. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But so this is one of 2. So this is from the 50.
Okay.
You get this one, and I have the other one. Okay. So literally one of 2. Okay. I wanted to thank you.
Go in a box.
I wanted to thank you for all the help you've done in designing this, in supporting all the fits you do, and so.
Of course.
The only way that I can thank you.
Super excited that I was able to come along. You allowed me to do something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, it's been a crazy fun project, so just wanted to do that. So you enjoy. I'm gonna go change, and then I'll be back.
So we are going to do a bike fit for the Iron Cowboy on his brand new bike that we spent quite a bit of time building. The idea was to kind of reinvent the wheel, change the way that tri bikes are built. I think that in the past, most tri bikes have kind of dabbled in changing things a little bit from road bikes, but the geometry I felt wasn't quite there. So thankfully, he has quite the pull with his sponsor Fazari, and they brought me in and we designed a bike from scratch. So I'm excited to see how it fits him and see how it goes. So I've hooked James up with a 3D harness, and these are LEDs. If we turn the lights off, you'd see these teeny little lights on here. But this harness is going to send a signal to this bar over here. And this bar right behind you is going to pick up this LED, the image. And when I start it here, it's actually going to show his movement real time. So I'll make sure it's connected. This allows us to be extremely accurate, and then we can have data moving forward. So if I make a change, if it doesn't go the way we need to, or we see benefits from it, we can look back at that data and go, okay, this worked, this didn't, and we make some changes. James has a really clean pedal stroke, so there's not a ton we have to work on there. The bike is new to him and new to me during the fitting, so we can clean this up even more. But all these numbers are representing something in the fit. Green is ideal, yellow is not ideal. So we want to make a couple little changes and make this the best we can. So once I can kind of find a baseline of where we need to go with his pedal stroke and his extension, then we can start ironing out other things. This is kind of where it starts. So, okay, go ahead and hop on. Obviously, we want you to stay compressed and aero, but I don't want to just lift you up just to lift you up. But you do need to come up a little bit. So if we go back, that'll help.
Perfect.
So let's, okay, go ahead and hop off. Now, I think there's a couple of different ways that we can do this.
Look at all that.
I know, it's amazing. And these, so I think these can be reversed. Just the base if we wanted to, but I'm just going to bring this back for now. There's tons of
You could take this and put it on the other side.
Yeah.
Because now it changes that angle, which moves it more back this way. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, tons. So, but all I'm going to do for the fit right now is we're going to figure out where we need to be. And I'm going to move this, and then we'll fiddle with this later. Because you can move your hands and set your hands wherever you want.
For sure. The hyperbaric oxygen chamber for my house. It is so sick, dude.
Do you sleep good in it?
So I don't sleep in it yet because there's a maximum benefit of 3 hours. Because then you're like fully oxygenated, right? Yeah. And so anything beyond that. Right now I'm doing about 90 minutes a day. And I don't know if it's placebo in my mind or whatever, but I feel amazing. And I'm like, we know this from the beginning. Oxygen is life and all healing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to sleep in there and then to just wake up and go, oh, I don't have that wiggle or that niggle, and I feel better. So it's pretty cool. So just started 2 weeks into the therapy, but to have it at my house and just, because you can do stuff in there, and I can do conference calls or whatnot. So to be able to multitask, 'cause it's not like I just have to lay there and not move for 2 hours. I can be doing stuff and gaining that oxygen benefit. So it's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think we've already come to the conclusion you might be a little stupid.
Yeah. It's pretty much an internet-wide consensus. That dude is stupid.
That dude is stupid.
Well, good for me.
Good for you. Man, a lot of people thought that Albert Einstein was stupid too.
There you go.
So here your back angle is sitting at 17 degrees. Was. So bringing you back changes from 17 to 19. So we went up a little bit. But your hip angle closure, so at the top of your pedal stroke, when you're coming up and closing your hip off, which can create a lot of movement too, but it also creates a dead space in your pedal stroke, all those types of things. We increased 2 degrees right there.
That's a lot.
So yeah, we're headed in the right direction. We still have some stuff we have to massage out of that, but
Ideally, what would we want our hip angle to be?
where it's at. You know, we start getting up to 56. That's on the high end. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'd like to see it a little higher if we can.
But again, there's nothing, as long as we're within the range. And there are other numbers that we have to take into consideration too. So it's not like we can just shoot for the hip angle open. Now, the next thing that we do need to do will change this hip angle. Because again, if you're going to spend the amount of time on this bike that you need to, we still need to come up a little bit.
Front end?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm too aggressive.
Because you're 19 degrees with that back angle. We could be 20 to 25 for you. 35's too upright for you.
Yeah.
But I'd like to bring you up a couple
that'll
degrees.
make me more comfortable.
Yes, a lot more comfortable.
The mirror image that I saw was like, dude, I could do a sprint in this in this angle, and I don't need to be that aggressive.
So this is where, but again, just by bringing you back, it gave us enough of the numbers. But now what we can do is we can put
A couple risers.
a couple spacers in there, and we may even just, not even just one.
How we got to where we got to.
So if we're looking at your the ones that I was the most concerned with had to do a lot with your pedal stroke and your extension, your hip angle, your back angle, knee forward the foot. This is what, if you're doing a triathlon, this one's crucial, but we'll get to that in a second. With your extension, your max knee extension, this is your pedal stroke going all the way through the bottom of your pedal stroke at the maximum that it's going to extend. You weren't extending enough. You were only at 46. For a triathlon fitting, we want 33 to 42, so that means the seat needed to come up. Now, for you, I knew that it was the seat post. That's not always the case. You can change a lot of things to get this. But with you, it was the seat post. You've got long legs, short torso, those types of things. But anyways, so 6 degrees, that's a lot.
That's what we changed?
Yes. So I've even got you slightly at the low end, only because one of the things that I know about you is that you've always been kind of a toe rider. So I can't maximize that, and I can't keep pushing this to go closer to the 33 because you don't quite have the range of motion with the foot to do that. So I left it more close to the 42, which works for you. It has in the past. It continued to.
Yeah.
Knee range. We improved some knee range, but again, with your foot not moving as much as it does, This one we may have to play with over time.
Okay.
But part of it, you're changing a new seat. So once the new seat comes in, it's going to change how this goes. I don't think this seat offers as much support as it could. And that prototype you showed me and the images you showed me, completely different support area. And the fact that the nose drops off, I think we can decrease the pressure that you have in your knee, and I think we can increase the range of motion. So that's another thing that will help. The hip angle closed. When we talked about that, you were okay where you were at, but you even felt impinged there. So we increased
and then we went up to 52, and I still felt impinged.
Yeah, we went to 52 and still impinged, but now we're at 55, a whole 5 degrees. That's massive. So that's closure at the top of the pedal stroke. Open, there's not really a range for that on a tri-bike, unless this bike is just so jacked up. At the bottom of your pedal stroke, you're going to open that hip angle open. But we did increase it by 6 degrees. Hip range, we stayed within that 40 to 45. That's fine. Back angle was my concern. Again, with the long miles that you put in, we can't leave you at this low, aggressive 19 degrees. Just because it's yellow and it's without of the range, I've put athletes there before, but all these other numbers made sense. And they were doing shorter distances. So, but for you, we've got to open that up. Like I said, anywhere between 20 to 25 is what I was hoping for. We got you to 22. It was a game changer for you. So that's good. I'm really happy with that. Shoulder angle, elbow angle, we're still within the range, but the elbow angle, we got well below 90, and you wanted to stay at that 90. We're sitting about 93 degrees right now. So that's about as pretty close to a square angle that we can get, and that's going to support. Now, if you're this far forward on your pedal stroke, you stop losing some of your bigger muscles, hamstrings, glutes, things that you actually need to turn that pedal stroke. So we want you a good amount forward, 50 to 120. Everybody is different with this, but we have you 105 millimeters forward. That's a lot. So that would also allow you to transition to a run very well, but it's conservative enough that if you're just on your bike, just pushing out the power, you're in a good position right here to help. So the other thing that I can pull up is the diagram of what your knee was doing. We'll do that in a second, but some of the numbers in here, just travel, tilt. Your pedal stroke has always been relatively clean. So it's not like there was a drastic change here. But if you look at this image, this is roughly where your ankle is supposed to be. This is the range of motion for your knee. The frame of the bike would be relatively here. So you've got your pedal that comes out, you know that. So this shows us what your knee does back and forth. And this is almost a 3D image of the pattern that your knee will do. So that's where we're at now. I probably better save this so we don't lose this data. But let me show you what this looked like when we started. You can see the travel here. So you had an arc that was happening, and you were further away.
Is that going to lead to loss of power?
Certainly, yeah. Anytime that knee deviates from what it's supposed to do, and like I said, you've always had a relatively clean pedal stroke, but
to clean it up even further.
Yeah, why wouldn't we, right?
Why wouldn't?
So instead of curving like this during the pedal stroke, by changing where your cleats were at, changing the position of the bike, now if we go to the image, and again, you look at the black line, knees out a little bit, we go to where we are now, you can see how it brings it in a hair, and now you're going more straight up and down. Way more consistent.
Like a car piston.
Thousands and thousands of pedal strokes going straight up and down as opposed to,
That leads to injury.
Yeah, leads to injury. Yeah, big time.
Amazing.
And then you want to talk about your adductors?
Yeah.
Coming out, around, constantly using that muscle to try and bring that.
Well, and that's my trouble spot. I mean, on the 50, Sonny would say, every day I stripped your adductors. Every day we had to lengthen those. Yeah. And then every day in the middle of the night, I'd wake up screaming because they're both grabbing and locking, right? Yeah. So to minimize that and start to solve that problem is a huge piece.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we need to look at with your mountain bike.
Yeah.
We need to work on that. One of the things that I'm seeing, though, with the pedal stroke, and the reason that it's not bad, you do have some internal, and we've talked about this, you've got some internal rotation issues up in the hip where the knee doesn't want to stay in, but your muscle wants to push it in there. So during your pedal stroke, that's why that knee kind of drives in towards the top tube. But once you get to the top of the pedal stroke, your hip's going, we don't want to be here. It kind of tries to flare out at the top. And that's why it was crucial to open your hip angle up, get your back angle up so that that minimizes what happens at the top of your pedal stroke. So you're not feeling that impingement and then coming away at the top of the pedal stroke the whole time.
So cool.
So, yeah, I mean, lots of things to think about. It's a case of spinning plates. Anytime we look at this, we've got to take every small detail into factor. So.
Daddy likey?